Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Seriously, when you look at the 2026 Dallas Cowboys right now, you aren't just looking at a football team preparing for another season. You are looking at a ticking clock. You're looking at a historic franchise completely backed into a corner of its own making, carrying the crushing weight of decades of playoff heartbreak, and staring down a front office that has suddenly, violently flipped the script. We are witnessing sheer desperation here, folks, real cinematic tension, an ultimatum that could literally alter the landscape of the NFL for the next decade. So let's dive into this explainer and unpack exactly what is happening in Dallas, because the stakes have, quite frankly, never been higher. This was the exact moment the tectonic plates of the NFL shifted. Picture this. It's the opening press conference of training camp. The cameras are flashing, the microphones are hot, everyone's expecting the usual GM talking points, and Jerry Jones delivers this absolute jaw-dropping statement. "I'd give up the future to substitute where we are today." Look, you really need to read that again. This isn't your typical cautious general manager coach speak. This is a chilling, calculated admission. The franchise is fully prepared to mortgage their tomorrow for today. They are publicly announcing to the other 31 teams in the league that the vault is wide open, the draft picks are available, and the future is entirely expendable if, and only if, it buys them a Lombardi trophy right now.
Now, what's really interesting here, and what we have to wrap our heads around, is the sheer scale of this gamble. When you visually weigh these massive stakes, you have the cost on one side, giving up the future. We are talking about sacrificing first-round draft picks, trading away blue-chip young talent, giving up the very foundational pieces that keep a franchise stable for a decade. And on the other side, winning now. Super Bowl 2026, immediate, massive opening day roster upgrades. It is the ultimate high-wire act. Think about it. If you push all your chips to the center of the table and win, you're immortal. You're a legend. But if you lose, man, you plunge the entire franchise into a dark age of salary cap hell and empty draft boards for years to come. But for Jerry Jones, right now, the risk is finally worth the reward. Section 1. The missing pieces. So you might be asking yourself, if the Cowboys are going all in, what exactly are they buying? That training camp press conference acted as an inciting incident, throwing a harsh, undeniable spotlight onto the current holes in the Dallas roster, and it starts right here on the defensive edge. Make no mistake, this is the Cowboys' biggest problem. They have a promising room, right? You've got guys like Rashawn Gary, Donovan Ezeriwaku, Malachi Lawrence, Sam Williams, and James Houston. Absolutely, there is potential here. But let's be real for a second. Potential doesn't sack the quarterback in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game. There is a glaring, massive gap between having promising talent and possessing a true, game-wrecking, undeniable superstar who forces opposing offensive coordinators to completely rewrite their blocking schemes on a Tuesday. Dallas knows they are exactly one monster pass rusher away from fielding a truly elite defense. Which brings us to this number, 5. Behind the scenes, Dallas wasn't just casually browsing the trade block or kicking the tires on average guys. No, they were secretly, aggressively hunting a 5-time Pro Bowler. A player so dominant, so incredibly disruptive, that his mere presence would instantly elevate the Cowboys into definitive Super Bowl favorites. Section 2. The Max Crosby Factor. The target is Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Max Crosby. And you have to look at how this crazy sequence of events builds, because the offseason subplot surrounding his potential move to Dallas literally reads like a Hollywood script. Early in the offseason, the Cowboys fiercely pursue a blockbuster trade for Max Crosby, but they get heartbroken. Out of nowhere, the Baltimore Ravens swoop in, outbid Dallas by offering 2 first-round picks, and seemingly win the race. Crosby is a Raven. It's a done deal, right? But then, an absolute miracle for Dallas. The trade is completely nixed over a failed physical. The Ravens back out, Crosby packs his bags, heads back to Vegas, and recommits to the Raiders. The door is slammed shut. Or so we thought. Fast forward to training camp, and Jerry Jones steps up to the microphone and purposefully reignites the rumors, letting the entire football world know that Dallas is still lurking in the shadows. And here's the kicker. Crosby is entirely aware of the noise. While he's out there rehabbing his knee at the Raiders Intermountain Health Performance Center, he's watching the screens. He's seeing all the major ESPN debate shows dominating the airwaves with his name directly linked to the Cowboys. And his reaction? It's fascinating. He admits it's cool to hear himself considered as the missing Super Bowl piece. He specifically calls out how the child version of himself would react to seeing Stephen A. Smith debating his legacy on national television. He's flattered by it. He notes that, quote, whether it's made up or not, they wouldn't be talking about him if he wasn't doing something right. Now, yes, he stated his commitment to being a Raider, but guys, the seed is planted, and that kind of deafening noise is impossible to just ignore. And then you have this chilling confirmation from Jerry Jones regarding those initial Crosby trade talks. We did not walk away.
He wanted everyone in that media room, and probably everyone in the Raiders front office, to know that Dallas didn't back down, they just got momentarily outbid before the deal fell apart. This keeps attention incredibly high. It's a massive signal that a blockbuster trade package could still be actively sitting on the table in Las Vegas, just waiting for the Raiders to blink. Because as insiders note, the exact same reasons the Raiders were willing to trade Crosby to the Ravens back in March, they're still in place today.
Section 3. Solving the linebacker crisis.
But listen, an elite edge rusher is only one part of the championship equation. If you want to actually win a Super Bowl, you cannot have a soft middle. It will get exposed. The crucial pressure point is right here in the linebacking core. When Jerry Jones talked about a willingness to make a move, he specifically noted linebacker as a position they could add to. And it makes perfect sense because they have major uncertainties across the board. You've got DeMarvion Overshawn, who carries real injury history concerns. You have D. Winters, who is an okay option but completely unproven as an elite every-down starter. You have Jishan Barham, carrying all those typical rookie question marks, and Shamar James, still trying to figure things out in his second-year development phase. Going into January, against the absolute best offenses in the world, having this level of inexperience in the middle of your defense isn't just a weakness, it's a massive, season-ending vulnerability.
So what's the target solution here? It's veteran linebacker Bobby Wagner. He has been heavily linked to the Cowboys all offseason, and for very good reason. Coach Brian Schottenheimer has heaped massive praise on him, and honestly, it's easy to see why. Wagner brings a wealth of championship experience. He is the ultimate green dot solution. He's the guy who wears the communication helmet, calls the plays, reads the offense, and aligns the defense perfectly before the snap. Bringing in a guy like Wagner wouldn't just be a tactical upgrade on the field, it will be a massive cultural enforcement in the locker room, providing the exact type of battle-tested veteran leadership this young linebacker room so desperately needs. Section 4. Protecting the offensive line.
All right, let's pivot to the other side of the ball for a second, because you can build the greatest, most terrifying defense in NFL history, but if your franchise quarterback is constantly on his back, the season is over before it even begins. Right now, the Cowboys have not one, but two major concerns along the offensive line. And, terrifyingly, both are at the most premium spots, the tackle positions. When you are operating under a strict all-in mandate, you just cannot rely on hope, prayers, and raw potential to protect your quarterback's blind side. There is an urgent, completely non-negotiable need for veteran stability here. The heavily rumored target solution? Taylor Decker. Bringing in a proven, battle-tested anchor like Decker is exactly the kind of substantive, opening day upgrade Jerry Jones was heavily implying he's willing to pay a premium for.
Section 5. The final Super Bowl push.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here, because this isn't just about X's and O's anymore. This is about legacy. The historical baggage of the Cowboys' recent playoff failures is colliding head-on with this sudden, desperate win-now ultimatum. Jerry Jones is looking at his franchise, he's looking at the calendar, and he's realizing that someday is no longer an acceptable timeline. The future is a luxury they simply can no longer afford to prioritize over the present. Which brings us to the ultimate lingering unanswered question. Will Jerry actually pull the trigger? We know the holes. Edge rusher, linebacker, offensive tackle. We know the targets, Max Crosby, Bobby Wagner, Taylor Decker, and we know the heavy cost, giving up the future. The board is perfectly set. The tension is palpable. Every single day of training camp is a literal countdown to see if the Dallas Cowboys front office will actually execute the most aggressive, franchise-altering, blockbuster moves in modern NFL history before Week 1 officially kicks off. But the story isn't over yet. The ink isn't dry on this roster, and the clock is still ticking. Thank you so much for joining us on this explainer here at NFL Nexus. I want to know exactly what you think about all this. Will the Cowboys actually land Max Crosby? Will Jerry mortgage the entire future for one ring? Sound off in the comments below on what you think happens next. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and support us by becoming a channel member. Until next time, keep your eyes on the wire.